Tokyo Godfathers is a must-watch holiday movie for anime fans. Directed by the late Satoshi Kon and produced by animation studio Madhouse, Tokyo Godfathers is an unconventional holiday film, but one that has endured in popularity since its debut 20 years ago. Tokyo Godfathers stars three homeless people in Tokyo: a grumpy middle-aged drunkard named Gin, an overly emotional ex-drag queen named Hana, and a snot-nosed teenage runaway named Miyuki. The trio comes upon a baby girl in the trash on Christmas Eve and decides to find the child's mother. As the three of them embark on their search, they're faced with adversity from other parties, twists in the mystery, and their own individual pasts. Beneath the film's gritty surface is a holiday film that doesn't just have the theme of Christmas miracles, but is practically run by Christmas miracles. Every coincidence and opportunity the lead cast encounters brings them on a thrilling, intriguing journey through Tokyo that becomes as heartwarming as many other holiday classics. We can hop into this movie's English version history right away, as this movie made its world premiere in New York City at Big Apple Anime Fest on August 30th, 2003, presented with English subtitles. Yeah, this is one of the rare cases of anime content coming out in America before Japan. Tokyo Godfathers didn't come out in its home country until November 8th that year. Satoshi Kon himself was a guest of honor at BAF and introduced the film to a sold-out theater packed with American anime fanatics, many of whom already knew him from his hit movies Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress. Not only were anime nerds in attendance, but also Madhouse co-founder Masao Maruyama and many executives from Sony Pictures International. In simpler words, this movie premiere was a really big deal. The behind-the-scenes video about Tokyo Godfathers makes it sound like the world premiere went well. Kon reported the American audience laughed when he hoped they would, and it seemed like everyone there that night enjoyed the movie. What this peachy keen behind-the-scenes featurette doesn't tell is how the premiere went horribly wrong. Strap in, folks, we've got a convention horror story for the ages, something better suited for Halloween than Christmas. According to an account by longtime anime community member and owner of Media OCD, Justin Savakis, who had the pleasure of introducing Kon to the packed theater at the screening, this event had some, technical difficulties. I'm not an expert in film, so I'd apologize in advance if I get something wrong here. But if you're interested to know the full technical details about the story, there's a link to Savakis' article on the screen and in the description. Long story short, Tokyo Godfathers was being presented on 35mm film that night. While the US had implemented changes to the format over the years, such as using a large film platter to combine 15 to 20 minute film reels together without needing a projectionist to swap reels manually, Japan never had such changes. This resulted in the Tokyo Godfathers film reel still having metal stickers to make the projector turn off and the theater lights to come on, whereas in the US this would be at the end of the platter reel. Whoever was in charge of making the platter that night was not aware of this, and it went about as swimmingly as one would expect. Excited anime moviegoers and industry bigwigs were in their seats, enjoying the new movie by Satoshi Kon. 20 minutes in, the video turned off, the lights turned on, but the audio was still playing. In an absolute panic, Savakis tracked down the projectionist, a Sony rep trailing behind him. The projectionist took his sweet time fixing the problem, and after what was likely the longest 4 minutes of Savakis' life to that point, everyone continued to enjoy the feature presentation for 15 more minutes. Then the same thing happened again. Savakis recounted on the third time this happened, he told the projectionist to stay in the booth since this was obviously going to be a reoccurring issue. As one would expect, Kon was displeased his latest film had these technical difficulties. In the Q&A that followed Savakis' interview of Kon, someone in the audience asked what the best and worst things were about making Tokyo Godfathers. Kon answered, "The best thing about making this movie was being here with you all tonight to share it with you. The worst thing about making this movie was being here tonight for the screening." Thankfully, technical problems didn't sway the audience's opinion of the film, as it received massive praise. Kon hit it out of the park again. One user named Wolfie2005 was in attendance that night and wrote in a reply to the article's forum thread, "I remember the movie stopping multiple times but not caring because I loved it so much." Another user named Big K had a similar sentiment. "Despite all the technical difficulties we experienced, I still had the most fun I've ever had at any movie, anime or not. It feels like a miracle everyone still enjoyed the movie, despite all the trouble watching it." Christy Naudis of Anime News Network wrote in a review that Kon had, quote, "created another masterpiece," unquote, and hoped the film would be a success when it had a wide release in the United States. I do question, though, if Naudis and I saw the same movie, because Naudis described Tokyo Godfathers as family-friendly, even going as far as to compare it to Spirited Away. Without going into spoiler territory, I can assure you this movie is not for kids. Tokyo Godfathers was shown in America not once but twice before it debuted in Japan, as the film had one more early screening at the San Diego Asian Film Festival on October 2nd, 2003, again with English subtitles. After releasing in Japan, Tokyo Godfathers had a limited theatrical release stateside starting on January 16, 2004, and given the small number of big screens it was on, it was a moderate success. Across its 8 theaters on opening weekend, the motion picture made approximately $30,000 US, averaging $3,750 US per movie theater. For a movie showing in 8 theaters, that's not too shabby, and showed the amount of Satoshi Kon fans, or at least curious moviegoers back in that era. The film was released on DVD by Columbia TriStar Home Entertainment not long after this brief theatrical run, hitting store shelves on April 13, 2004. The single-disc DVD set contained the movie with Japanese audio in English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese subtitles, as well as a making-of featurette, theatrical trailer, and a Satoshi Kon character illustration postcard. Now to discuss the subtitles. For years, this was the only readily available way to experience the movie in English, and while the bulk of the script is fine, it certainly shows its age. Specifically, its age shows regarding language about the former drag queen Hana. Hana is a self-described okama, which strictly going by a dictionary can mean homosexual, but in fact covers a lot of LGBTQ labels such as cross-dressers and transgender women. Fans of One Piece may be familiar with the term okama because of the series' massive use of okama characters throughout its story. The Tokyo Godfathers English subtitles strictly stick to labeling Hana as a homosexual drag queen and translate okama as a dated offensive slur I'm not going to repeat. Don't fret, there is a happy ending to this movie's subbed releases, but this one specifically uses the term 3 times. To go into a bit of nuance, the Japanese version's promo material uses the loan word drag queen specifically when describing Hana, and at the time of this movie's release, the LGBTQ community was not as well understood or in the spotlight, at least not in a positive context. Therefore, whoever wrote the subtitles took this all at face value and utilized a word often heard in Xbox Live chat rooms for when Gin is derogatorily referring to Hana. Really, a lot of the script's faults lie in its treatment of Hana, partially because the context goes missing or is handled strangely. When Hana and Miyuki are arguing on the rooftop early in the movie, Miyuki calls Hana a kuso no jiji, which could translate to crappy old man. Hana responds by saying that the crappy part is acceptable, but not old man, to which Miyuki swiftly changes her insult to kuso no baba, or crappy old lady. The context goes missing in translation, with Miyuki telling Hana, "Eat shit, you old fart." Hana's reaction is, and I quote, "Shit I'll take, but fart I won't." It makes 0 sense and is hilarious out of context. Miyuki's correction is changed to old bag lady. This ties into how in later scenes Miyuki insultingly refers to Hana as Oba-san, or basically granny. The subs changed this nickname to be Uncle Bag. I think the writers got it from Bag Lady, but not exactly catchy or accurate. I'm really not sure what they were going for here. There is some brilliance in the script's localization, such as when the group is deciding what to name the abandoned baby. In Japanese, Gin pitches the name Nanashi no Gonbei, or Gonbei the Nameless, a common placeholder for an unknown male name. The subtitle script uses the English equivalent John Doe. It's important because the joke is Gin used a male name and Hana snaps at him telling him the baby is a girl. The subs also read around what would otherwise be a confusing explanation for the name Hana does give the baby, which is Kyoko. The choice of name is derived from the Japanese title of the Christmas carol Silent Night, which is Kiyoshiko no Yoru, meaning pure night or sacred night. The English subtitles explain it as the name being derived from Kiyo, or pure, on this purest of nights. It's a clever way to keep the Christmas element in the translation without confusing viewers on the connection to Silent Night, a song sung early in the film. One last note about the subs. The characters that speak Spanish in the movie do not have subtitles. This is a deliberate choice, as there were no subtitles for the Spanish dialogue in the Japanese version either, meaning English-speaking viewers would be just as lost as Japanese viewers, but Spanish-speaking viewers locked out. Overall, the subtitles have faults but are otherwise fine and accurately portray the movie, with no other egregious mistakes that alter the intent of Satoshi Kon. With Tokyo Godfathers' theatrical showings and home video release came warm reception from movie critics and reviews both online and in newspapers. Rob Lohman of the Los Angeles Daily News is one of many critics that lauded the film for being, quote, creative animation that isn't aimed primarily at the young, unquote. Also from the Los Angeles Daily News, Glenn Whipp stated in the first paragraph of his review that, quote, Tokyo Godfathers is an anime movie made for people who don't necessarily like anime, unquote. Whip gave the film 4 out of 5 stars, commenting positively on the film's unusual lead characters and Kon adding in the realistic problems they would face, such as illness and hygiene. Manohla Dargis, back when she was a film critic working for the Los Angeles Times, praised Satoshi Kon's, quote, graceful storytelling and haunting visuals, unquote, right away in her review subtitle. In the body of her review, Dargis praised Kon's other 2 films at the time as well as Tokyo Godfathers with this line: "The triumph of Kon's work lies not just in its beauty and singularly sophisticated storytelling, but in how that beauty and storytelling combine to give the films a sting so human you can forget you're watching a cartoon." Colin Covert of the Star Tribune gave Tokyo Godfathers 3 out of 4 stars, opening his review by admiring Kon's expressive animation and even hyperbolically calling it superior to then-current live-action films. I could go on and on about critical praise of this movie, but who better to cover in this segment than the man synonymous with movie reviews, Roger Ebert. Ebert loved animation, and he made it clear throughout his life that his love of the medium included Japanese animation too. He loved My Neighbor Totoro. He adored Kiki's Delivery Service. He raved about Metropolis, and he admired Tokyo Godfathers. Ebert gave this Satoshi Kon film a thumbs up, 3 out of 4 stars, describing the film as, quote, an animated film both harrowing and heartwarming about a story that will never, ever be remade by Disney, unquote. His final paragraph encouraged skeptical moviegoers to be open-minded about seeing foreign animation made for an older crowd. There's a world there to be discovered, and sometimes, as with Tokyo Godfathers and The Great Grave of the Fireflies, the themes are so harrowing that only animation makes them possible. I don't think I'd want to see a movie in which a real baby had the adventures this one has. No sales numbers are available for the Tokyo Godfathers DVD, but one thing was on many viewers' minds: where is the English dub? It felt like such an obvious next step, right? Well, there was a dub released around 2006, but most people in the West wouldn't know about this dub, as it only aired in Southeast Asia. Sometime between 2004 and 2006, Tokyo Godfathers received an English dub that aired on Animax Asia, a channel we often talk about in this series. For the uninitiated, Animax Asia is a Southeast Asian TV channel that airs animated programs, much of which is anime. This Tokyo Godfathers dub was recorded in Hong Kong by Omni Productions, a studio that commonly had its dubs broadcast on the station. Just like most dubs that aired on the channel, this one is mostly lost media, with only about 2 minutes of footage readily available online. So what do we know about this dub aside from the studio? We know the 3 lead characters' voices, so let's go over them. Darren Pleven is the voice of Geen, a departure from his typical roles of young heroes. If this dub came out in 2006, this makes Geen one of Pleven's final roles before moving back to Canada.
I know, sweetheart, it's hard. You want your mommy, right? Not some homeless hobo.
Don't say things like that! Not in front of her!
Candace Moore plays Miyuki. While she doesn't have many lines in the footage available, she sounds appropriately young and whiny for this character.
People are gonna freak out when they hear a baby crying around here, you know.
And lastly, Russell Waite voices Hana. And Waite hams up the hell out of his performance, matching Hana's Japanese counterpart. Much like how Hana steals the show in the original movie, Waite steals the show in this dub.
Buy some water, Miyuki! My angel isn't drinking tap water, not on Christmas Day!
No other voice actors are confirmed from this project, and neither Pleven nor Moore can remember the ADR director for this dub. Pleven noted it likely was either Andrea Kwan or Ina Chow, but he doesn't recall for sure. Pleven also noted Sarah Hauser may have been on the dub, but his memory is hazy, so take this note with a grain of salt. Even though there are only about 2 minutes of footage available, there is enough content to make some comparisons to the Japanese version. At the start of the longer clip available online, which sees the star and cast first caring for the newborn, Kyoko's crying was replaced with stock baby crying sound effects you hear in cartoons instead of using the Japanese track. Hana being an okama was not erased but seems to be toned down in how it's phrased. Additionally, her name is pronounced like Hannah, and according to a comment by Russell Waite on YouTube, he spells the name like Hanna. Whether this is how it was shown in the script is unknown. Those are the main notes from the found footage. The available footage is peculiar though. Why does it appear to be off a production reel instead of a low-quality TV rip like these dubs usually are? For that matter, why do we have these clips to begin with? Thank Russell Waite. Per Pleven's memory, Waite convinced the studio to let him keep some clips from the film. One of the clips available is from Waite's demo reel, which may explain why the longer clip prominently shows Hana's range of emotions. It's evident the 3 main cast members had a blast. Of all the long-running series and famous anime this trio has worked on, both Pleven and Moore fondly and distinctly remember Tokyo Godfathers. In our conversation about the dub, Pleven stated he is proud of his work voicing Geen. Moore, with a star-eyed emoji attached, recounted the dub being fun. and Wait's YouTube comments make it evident he had a wonderful time with this dub too. I'm curious to see the censorship for this film, as Tokyo Godfathers has nudity and other sites and dialogue exchanges not safe for TV. Sadly though, the rest of this dub is lost media, and may very well be lost to time. But never say never, as we've had lost dubs come out suddenly from home recordings. It's a miracle we have footage at all, and that the 3 main cast members recall the dub so fondly. The years went by and Tokyo Godfathers never left the anime community's consciousness, even after Satoshi Kon's tragic passing in 2010 from pancreatic cancer at the age of 46. His only directorial roles after Tokyo Godfathers were the TV series Paranoia Agent in 2004 and the film Paprika in 2006. Kon left behind a legacy of media that continues to be loved, praised, and recommended to this day, and his Christmas time hit stayed a must-watch for anime lovers during the holiday season. The question remained though, why is there not an easily accessible English dub? Every other Satoshi Kon project come 2007 had a readily, legally available English dub. Millennium Actress even had 2 English dubs, the one from 2005 being recorded in the UK and the one from 2019 being recorded in the US. Over the years, fans speculated what a US English dub cast for Tokyo Godfathers would look like. Voice actor Crispin Freeman on multiple occasions stated his dream voice acting gig would be playing Hana in Tokyo Godfathers, but for many years, this movie would not have an English dub produced in America. The film remained in circulation on physical media though, with its debut on Blu-ray. Australian distributor Umbrella Entertainment announced on June 26, 2017 that Tokyo Godfathers would make its debut on Blu-ray in English-speaking countries. The Blu-ray set was to contain all the contents of the original English DVD release, including the bonus features. The only features missing are the non-English subtitle options. The movie released in Australia a few months after its announcement, hitting store shelves on September 6, 2017. The movie received a Blu-ray release in the UK 1 year later by Manga Entertainment, launching on October 15, 2018. Don't be deceived though, as the Australian and UK Blu-ray releases of the film are not identical. According to reviews online, the Australian release uses the DVD window box view of the film and puts the window box into another window box. The movie also has a lossy Dolby Digital 5.1 mix audio, a downgrade from the lossless DVD audio. The UK release, on the other hand, has full-screen video that looks cleaner than the Australian version and uses lossless audio with both a 5.1 surround and 2.0 stereo option. This is great news for English-speaking fans in those territories, but what about North America? Well, American Satoshi Kon fans were in for a very special holiday treat in 2019. On December 19, 2019, American licensor GKIDS announced their acquisition of the theatrical and home video distribution rights for Tokyo Godfathers. This upcoming release wasn't just going to be a re-release of the previous DVD's contents, as the movie was going to have a 4K restoration and, at long last, a new English dub. What's more, GKIDS further confirmed in another post that the film's upcoming release would have updated subtitles, free of the slurs used in prior releases. A few months later, on February 13th, 2020, the long-awaited English-language cast was revealed to the public. The dub was produced by NYAV Post, a studio with locations in New York and Los Angeles, giving the team a bevy of actors to cast in their productions. The dub was directed by the studio's founder, Michael Sinterniklaas, a man with 2 decades of work under his belt, with additional direction by Oscar Garcia, Chelsea Cohan, and Stephanie Shea. Before we get to the full cast list, let's discuss the character the team wanted to cast correctly, Hana. As time has gone on, Western viewers gained a new perspective of this character. Recall in the previous subtitles that Hana is simply a drag queen, and Okama was translated in a more direct way, although with less than savory terminology. Also recall this film and its English translation were made in 2003. Times change. And as they do, the public's consciousness and knowledge change too. Knowledge and general opinion in the West of LGBTQ communities and issues have drastically shifted since the film's release, along with translation quality of the subject. With the rise in these factors was the view that Hana is not just a drag queen, but a transgender woman. This can be seen with Hana's desire to have a baby, Hana lashing out at others for being labeled as a man, and a line at the start of the film where Hana declares that in her heart she is a woman. Again, going back to a Shonen Jump favorite, fans of One Piece may recognize a similar phrase from the transgender samurai Kikunojo, where she states in her heart she is a woman. Heart in both contexts in Japanese is kokoro, which is like a metaphysical heart or a soul. Based on the listed factors, there's a substantial number of people in the West that see Hana as being trans. With this refreshed perspective in mind, the NYAV Post crew wanted to have a trans actress play Hana. NYAV Post already had a positive history of representation in their casting, one of their most famous cases being the deaf character Shoko Nishiyama in their dub of a silent voice being performed by a deaf actress. To take such care in casting Hana shows the team's commitment to representation. To be clear, NYAV Post does not do this kind of casting because of political correctness or trying to score brownie points with anyone. Michael Sinterniklaas calls it being appropriate. Per Sinterniklaas, why wouldn't you want to cast the most authentic performer possible for any role? This all being said, casting Hana proved to be a challenge. While Sinterniklaas wanted to cast someone that could accurately represent and understand the struggles and inner strength of someone that is transgender, the team also wanted someone that could drop to a lower vocal range like Hana's Japanese actor. This is something many trans actresses would not be either able or willing to do. NYAV Post worked with GKIDS and Kon's estate to find the voice for Hana with these conditions and didn't want to compromise for convenience sake, but time was not on their side. The standard in Sinterniklaas' mind for Hana was Maddie Blaustein, most famous for voicing Meowth for most of the 4Kids era of the Pokemon anime. Blaustein was born intersex and assigned male at birth, then in adulthood transitioned to being female. Throughout her career, her voice could go from higher-pitched female roles like Great Mother and Jungle Emperor Leo, all the way down to baritone male roles like Lieutenant Surge in Pokemon. With her proven talent, wealth of experience, and wide vocal range, she would have been the perfect pick for Hana. Sadly though, Blaustein passed away in 2008 from a stomach virus. Sinterniklaas was in a panic as the deadline loomed for the Tokyo Godfathers dub. While attending OhioCon in Columbus, Ohio on the weekend of January 10th, 2020, he was pitched an idea from ANN writer Cindy Sobilski. Sobilski suggested casting renowned transgender actress, writer, director, producer, and activist Shakina Nafak. With her proven track record of acting and being a big proponent of the LGBTQ community, she was a strong candidate for the part. Sinterniklaas and Nafak got in touch that night, and Nafak was cast as Hana days after their exchange. It's a miracle this daunting casting process was resolved in a near instant, all thanks to the input of Sobilski. It's even more of a miracle in hindsight for representation that Tokyo Godfathers didn't receive a dub until the 2020s. Had it been done a decade earlier, we'd likely see Hana played by a male, possibly even Crispin Freeman. Just like every other version of the film covered so far, Hana's performance steals the show.
This bundle of joy is a Christmas present sent from God! She's our baby now!
Now to get to the rest of the voice cast, starting with John Avner as Geen. Avner doesn't appear on many anime cast lists in recent years, so it's cool to see him join on for Tokyo Godfathers. Fans may know Avner for being in another NYAV Post dub voicing God Hand member Void in Berserk. If the name and face don't ring a bell, he's the voice that does this narration.
In this world, is the destiny of mankind controlled by some transcendental entity or law?
He also plays the main antagonist of Just Cause 3 and the dog character Fuji in Gokusei.
Ah, that puts the life in ya. I don't know what you expect to find around here for a baby. All these offerings are for dead people.
And to finish covering the main trio, Victoria Grace plays Miyuki. She had been cast the previous year in another NYAV Post dub playing the titular character of Mirai, making Miyuki one of her first anime roles.
Look at this. Isn't she cute? I just found her one day, and those spots on her back look like wings, so I named her Angel.
Other actors on the cast include many notable names from both New York and LA. New York actors including Erica Schroeder, Mark Thompson, and David Manis, and Los Angeles actors including Jameson Price, Kari Wahlgren, and the late Felice Sampler. And yes, even Crispin Freeman landed a role in this movie. While it wasn't the one he dreamt of, he was fine with that, as he was glad Hana was being played by a transgender actress. But there's one last person of note to cover on this cast list, another transgender character and celebrity role in fact. Kate Bornstein plays the role of Mother, the owner of the gay bar where Hana used to work. I won't go into details about Hana and Mother's relationship, but it's fantastic that the NYAV Post crew got a gender non-conforming actor to play this character. Bornstein receiving the role was in part thanks to Nafak, who recommended Bornstein after learning NYAV Post had yet to cast Mother. Nafak told Hannah Collins of Cartoon Break Room that Bornstein playing the role of Mother is fitting and a dream come true, as Nafak remarked Bornstein had been, quote, a hero and a legend to me for decades, unquote. On January 31st, 2020, Tokyo Godfathers was announced to have a limited theatrical run through Fathom Events, with screenings on March 9th and 11th at 7 p.m. local time, the former date having Japanese audio with new English subtitles and the latter having the new English dub. The dub also saw a special screening on March 13th at the Metrograph Theater in New York and Lumiere Music Hall in Los Angeles. GKIDS had their work cut out for them when it came to advertising the movie, as it already had a large existing fanbase in the West and a bevy of positive critical reviews. Heck, the GKIDS trailer for the movie has a snippet of Roger Ebert's review, which is surreal to see because he passed away in 2013, 7 years before this new release came out. It was not a matter of building up the hype for this movie, it was a matter of delivering on the hype with this new dub. What Fathom Events and GKIDS couldn't foresee is a global health alert being on the forefront of everyone's minds. News outlets began to cover this new health concern at the start of 2020, but come March, people around the world were on high alert, and many places already began to implement social distancing. This era of uncertainty affected the theatrical showings of Tokyo Godfathers, as some would-be moviegoers expressed caution and did not attend the screenings. According to Shakina Nafak, the New York screening began with audiences using Lysol wipes to clean their seats. There is a report from GKIDS that Nafak canceled her appearance at that screening, but according to her interview with ANN, she was in attendance. The article may also be referring to the March 9th or 11th screenings. Regardless, it's a miracle GKIDS chose to run the film on those dates, as much of the United States began receiving stay-at-home orders in the weeks to follow, starting with California on March 19th and New York on the 20th. The global health crisis of 2020 didn't hinder Tokyo Godfathers' limited theatrical run success, as its run managed to earn $231,758 US. All things considered, the 2020 re-release had a pretty successful 3 days in theaters. Tokyo Godfathers was released on Blu-ray in North America on June 2nd, 2020, and is objectively superior in every way to the Australian and UK releases, with remastered HD visuals, updated subtitles, the brand new English dub, bonus features not found on previous home video versions, and a DVD version bundled with the Blu-ray. This release blows the other two out of the water, all for just $24.99 MSRP. With discussion of the movie's new release out of the way, what's the dub like? Heck, what are the new subs like? Well, the subs are mostly the same as the old ones from 2004, with most of the rewrites being about Hana. Okama is translated in a more professional way. When Gin is using the phrase derogatorily, instead of saying you know what, he says far better alternatives to get the point across that he's being crass. Most references to Hana's pronouns are written around in the movie. When Miyuki and Gin are following Hana's footsteps, Gin originally remarks, "Man, he's got big feet," but in the new subs it's written as, "Those are some big feet." The 2020 subs clean up some other things like the "eat crap old fart" line to make it clear Miyuki is misgendering Hana, hence Hana's reaction. Otherwise, it's mostly grammatical fixes, mostly relating to the use of ellipses. The bulk of the script is exactly the same as before. As for the dub, it's another brilliant project by NYAV Post. The script stays true to the source material while adapting it for natural spoken language and lip flaps, and this movie has several scenes of full mouth movement lip flaps. I really don't have much to comment on because the script is so faithful to the Japanese version with no outstanding changes. Well, except for one outlier, and here's where we need to dip into light spoilers. Remember the Kuso no Jiji line? The dub goes a different route for this, with Miyuki telling Hana,
Well, you know, your ancient pops.
Hana reacts much like she does in Japanese, and Miyuki changes her choice of insult to bag lady. As a side note, Miyuki refers to Hana as Geezer Granny from that point onward, instead of the old subs' nickname of Uncle Bag. Later in the movie, we get a flashback to Hana's days working at the bar as a drag queen. A man in the audience during one of Hana's performances also calls Hana a crappy old man, a callback to the line by Miyuki. The dub ditched the callback and had the heckler call Hana a slur. Not a super bad slur, but a slur. It's unclear if the scriptwriters missed this connection between the scenes or made this a deliberate choice. Barring this change, I'd say this is one of my favorite anime film dubs, but I'm also partial to the works done by NYAV Post. The cast keeps the spirit of Tokyo Godfathers' Japanese cast while adding its own flavor. And the direction is brilliant, with each moment from funny to emotional sticking the landing. Counting old reviews of the movie, Tokyo Godfathers currently sits at certified fresh at 92% across 76 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics' consensus? Beautiful and substantive, Tokyo Godfathers adds a moving and somewhat unconventional entry to the animated Christmas canon. On Metacritic, the movie sits at 74 across 25 critical reviews. The film fares better on anime aggregate user scoring sites, where it sits around 82% of the big three. Overall, Tokyo Godfathers has seen greatly positive reception in the West, and over time, the appreciation for the film has deepened. Kon may no longer be with us, but his films, including this one, have proven themselves to be timeless. To this day, Tokyo Godfathers is a must-watch for anime fans not just during December, but anytime. Just like how the movie's story is paved with miracles, the English releases too are miraculous. I used the word miracle a lot in this video, and that was intentional. Kon himself said this movie is full of miracles, and I wanted to highlight that in the story. It's a miracle the film's world premiere still did well despite technical difficulties. It's a miracle Russell Waite convinced higher-ups to let him keep clips of the still-lost dub of the movie, something we'd likely never know about otherwise. It's a miracle all 3 cast members of that dub recall working on Tokyo Godfathers. Amongst every role they've done across long-running shows, this project proved to be one of the most fun and rewarding. It's a miracle the movie took 17 years to get a widely available English dub. By the time the dub came out, there was a new understanding and appreciation of one of the lead characters, something that would not have been handled the same had a dub come out earlier. It's a miracle this movie's new dub had a theatrical run right before lockdown swept the globe. It enjoyed a successful run even with some not attending due to health risks. And it's a miracle this movie is still fondly remembered and enjoyed to this day. The immediate excitement from fans when Tokyo Godfathers' 4K remaster and dub was announced is a testament to its enduring appeal. Stick around to the end, we've got one more episode before we close out 2023, but in the meantime, if you'd like to see Tokyo Godfathers for yourself, you can do so right away for free legally, at least as of this recording. The movie is available on YouTube for free, but I believe it's only during the holiday season. Otherwise, feel free to pick it up on Blu-ray. Although if you're in the US, be sure it's the newer GKIDS Blu-ray release and not the older Columbia TriStar DVD. If you'd like to have it digitally, it's available for rental or purchase on most major digital storefronts from Amazon Prime to Apple TV. You name it, it's likely available there. Happy holidays from me to you and yours. Get some rest, spend time with your loved ones, eat some tasty food, and I'll see you again very soon. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of Tokyo Godfathers, be it the dub, the movie itself, or something else. Also feel free to leave your requests, I do read all of them. I hope you enjoyed this holiday special. As I said in the previous video, I've been working on this one on and off since February. I knew it would be daunting because I'm so meticulous, as you no doubt have noticed. As I mentioned, we've got one final episode before I end, I guess, season 2 of English Dub History, and finally I'm changing the damn name of the series. Say goodbye to English Dub History as a name, it's being replaced. Stay tuned in the coming months. Next year is going to be full of interesting subjects, so stay tuned. If you have any you want to see, leave a comment. Shout out to all of my supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Supporters on either platform got to see this video early, so if you'd like to support what I do, gain access to my exclusive Discord server, and have your name on screen here, please consider supporting. Until next time, take care.